Well, good morning, everyone. And welcome to worship. I am happy to see you all. Some of you I haven't seen for a while. Welcome back. Some of you we see only in the summer. So happy you're here. We are in our summer mode, and we've been at camp the last 2 weeks, so it feels like this is our first kind of summer Sunday in the sanctuary, so I'm really happy you're here. I want to say a special welcome to Alyssa, who you may have noticed playing this morning. Do you want to introduce Alyssa if you know her better?
This is Alyssa. She is Island born and raised, but then wandered off to Toronto for a good chunk of her career. She and I met, kind of met, back in 2011 when we were working on a production, a Baroque era production, in Newfoundland.
Oh, now you're in. Now you're in.
Alyssa and her family have recently relocated back to the Valley, where we've been connecting and working on projects, and one of our upcoming projects, as you'll maybe piece together, is the Sing-Along Messiah that we'll be hosting in December. But Alyssa had pieces she needed to work on, and she said, please could I come and have a trial run? So we are her supportive guinea pigs.
Welcome. We're really glad you're here. Let's see if we can do this without putting back. Did it work? All right, I'll use my minister voice. This is a good time to have a little conversation, my friends, about who is the audience in worship. Who is the audience in worship? Yes. God is the audience in worship. So I know that we are, as a society, we are so programmed to clap, right? We hear something special, we have special music, the children do something, and we just want to give our thanks by clapping. We don't clap in church because we are not the audience. If God wants to clap, God will clap. But it's an offering of worship. It's not a performance. So as we have a special musician, as we move into some more interesting, we're going to have in a couple of weeks another really music-oriented worship service, I'm going to ask you please not to clap. Because it's worship, it's not a performance. And it's an important distinction. This is clapping in the deaf language. And I know Murray told you it was okay. So if you want to say a heartfelt thank you, if you want to shout an amen, or something like that, but please let's just keep it in the spirit of worship. Think of a musical offering or a reading as if it were a prayer or a sermon. If you want to clap after the sermon. All right, does that make sense? Does that make sense? Are we okay with that?
Yes.
It's so hard. And the musicians, you're on board with this, right?
Yes.
Are you okay today?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, and I know it's really hard because as a society, that is how we're programmed to give our thanks and appreciation. And so we're just like, it's an automatic response. But I'm going to ask you to just take a breath and think of it as an offering of worship. All right? Yeah. You can argue with me after the service. All right. I think that's all the kind of pre-announcements I wanted to make. So let's arrive. If your feet reach the floor, put them on the floor. And if they don't, kind of settle back into your chair and just feel rooted and connected in this place. And take your hands and face them towards the floor. Feel the energy going from your hands through the floor to the earth and from the earth back to you. And then take your hands and hold them with your palms facing towards you in a gesture that in this part of the world is often accompanied by the word Haishka, which means thank you. And so we say thank you to the generations who have cared for this place, who have worshiped on it and played on it and fought over it and worked on it and cared for it from time immemorial. We say thank you that we get to take our place here in this unfolding story. And then you can offer a little blessing, you can do a little love, your little picture frame, but just look at all of you beautiful people gathered here this morning. God's beloved community, welcome. And then my favorite, give yourself a big hug. God's beloved creature, thank you for showing up today. Children, do you want to do the candle? Got one enthusiastic finger. All right. Do you want to do the words or do you want to do the candles? You want to do words too? Okay. Once there was someone who said such amazing things and did such wonderful things, the people began to ask, who is he? And one day, the people asked, who is he? Jesus said, and so we light this candle to remind ourselves we gather in the name of Jesus, who is the light of the world and calls us to be lights to the world. Please pray with me. Jesus says, come to me if you're weary and burdened. God, when we're tired, when we're worn out, when we're burned out, your gentle heart brings rest for our souls. Jesus leads us in unforced rhythms of grace. He shares our burdens and walks beside us. Jesus, help us to walk with you. Teach us to live freely and lightly. Amen. Let's sing. We're going to sing 415 in the hardback Voices United. God, we praise you for the morning.
Thank you. Good morning. The first reading is taken from the Song of Solomon, chapter 2, verses 8 to 13. Verses 8 to 13. Listen, my beloved, look, here he comes, leaping across the mountains, bounding over the hills. My beloved is like a gazelle or a young stag. Look, there he stands behind our wall, gazing through the windows, peering through the lattice. My beloved spoke to me and said to me, Arise, my darling, my beautiful one, come with me. See, the winter is past, flowers appear on the earth. The season of singing has come. The cooing of doves is heard in our land. The fig tree forms its early fruit. The blossoming vines spread their fragrance. Arise, come, my darling, my beautiful one, come with me. The second reading is taken from Matthew. It's one of my mom's favorites, so I'm glad to have her here today. Chapter 11, verses 16 to 19, and verses 25 to 30. I'm taking it from the New International Version. To what can I compare this generation? They are like children sitting in the marketplaces and calling out to others, We played the pipe for you, and you did not dance. We sang a dirge, and you did not mourn. For John came neither eating nor drinking, and they said, He has a demon. The Son of Man came eating and drinking, and they say, He is a glutton and a drunkard, a friend of tax collectors and sinners. But wisdom is proved right by her deeds. At that time Jesus said, I praise you, Father, Lord of heaven and earth, because you have hidden these things from the wise and learned, and revealed them to little children. Yes, Father, for this is what you were pleased to do. All things have been committed to me by my Father. No one knows the Son except the Father, and no one knows the Father except the Son, and those to whom the Son chooses to reveal him. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon me and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy, and my burden is light.
So, today is one of the very few times in the lectionary, which is that cycle of assigned readings for each Sunday, that includes part of the Song of Solomon, which is also known as the Song of Songs. In its 3-year cycle, the lectionary covers about 2/3 of the Bible. And once in a while, generally in the summer, we get this little reading from the Song of Solomon. I love this book. And I love that it is part of our Holy Scripture. Now, there are a lot of theologians and learned people and good church leaders who say that it is a song about love between God and Israel, or about Christ and the church. And Gathering Magazine, which is the United Church resource that has thoughts and ideas about the weekly readings, it suggests that we get into this reading by talking with the children about friendship. How are we excited to connect with friends and enjoy spending time with them? Are we excited to spend time with God? What would help us in spending time with God? It's a lovely thought. It's important to do. But the Song of Solomon, what it really is, it's a love poem. It is a beautiful, sexy love poem written in 2 voices about 2 people who are in love with each other, who delight in each other, in each other's bodies.
The Lutheran theologian Catherine Schiffer-Decker calls it a love song between a man and a woman full of lush and sometimes erotic imagery with passion and descriptions of physical beauty and memories of past encounters and longing for the lover's presence. So I love that it's included in the Bible. I typically delight in the parts of the Bible that feel the most human, the sins, the mistakes, the wrong choices, the wrong people, the laments. I think it's why I love the disciple Peter so much, because he's so human. He always seems to get things wrong, but he does it with enthusiasm. I heard some podcasters using the phrase loud, confident, and wrong, and I think that just describes Peter. So very human. But back to the Song of Solomon, what can be more human than a sexy, sexy love poem? Like, think about the radio stations. They're filled with songs like this of every kind of genre. So this and the laments that we get in the Psalms, they feel like the most human of emotions. And it's even better that we get this reading in the summertime. I secretly think that the lectionary puts it in the summertime because they think not as many people are coming to church. So fewer of you will be scandalized by it. But summers always seem to be the season that's the most embodied. It's the most engaging of the senses. It's the heat and the humidity you feel on your skin. The welcome coolness of a swim in the lake or the river or the ocean. The sights and the smells of the gardens in bloom. I get to smell, this is beautiful up here, but go into the Memorial Garden after church today. The roses and the lavender are all in bloom. So go and look at the beauty and then just stand there and close your eyes kind of in that archway and smell rose and lavender and cedar and fir. It smells amazing. The birds are riotous in their singing. There's so many birds singing so loudly in the summer. Summer is the time when our senses are just flooded. So it's a perfect time for the Song of Solomon because it's a reminder that we have bodies. We are an embodied people and we worship a God who put on a body like ours, put on skin, walked around with us. God embodied, God incarnate. It's the thing we remember every year at Christmas time. And I love that this reading is now paired with the gospel reading from Matthew, where Jesus says, we played the pipe for you and you didn't dance, we wailed and you didn't mourn. And you called John a demon because he abstained from food and drink, and you called Jesus a glutton because he eats and drinks too much with all the wrong people. This is about bodies, right? Dancing and wailing and eating and drinking, and the idea that we should be doing all these things. For far too long, we have been trapped in the ideas that began in Greek thought, which Paul, who wrote all those scolding letters in the Bible that we call the epistles, he was steeped in this Greek thought. It began with the Greeks, and it caught fire with the good and the great and the righteous and the holy for centuries, that bodies are bad and souls or spirits are good. And that our bodies are wicked things that are leading our souls away from purity and goodness. Think about it. What God has kicked out of the Garden of Eden? What God has kicked out of the Garden of Eden? Forbidden fruit. We ate the wrong thing. Think about things that we consider sinful. Gluttony, eating and drinking too much. Or sloth, not moving enough. Or lust. That one's self-explanatory. So we have this whole ethos shaped around the idea that our bodies are bad. But the Bible doesn't actually support that. In fact, the Bible contains books like the Song of Solomon. There's a commandment
that I was actually talking about this week because I went to a wedding shower that a neighboring church threw for their minister who's getting married. And I was joking with the chair of M&P saying she should have some more time off. Because Deuteronomy 24:5 says, if a man has recently married, he must not be sent to war or have any other duty laid on him. For 1 year, he is to be free to stay at home and bring happiness to the wife that he is married. It's Deuteronomy! Doesn't say how much time the wife gets off, though. And this all brings me to the title of my sermon, which for once actually reflects my main point. The gospel reading ends in this lovely, beautiful, well-known phrase, "Come to me, all you that are weary and heavy laden, and I will give you rest." Come to me, all you who are weary and heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Now maybe it's because I'm getting ready to take some time off. This really, really struck a chord with me. I will give you rest. It's about taking our bodies seriously, taking the delight and the dancing and the wailing and the loving, sure, but also, and this one is really tough for our society, the need to rest. To rest. When was the last time you let yourself rest? Take a break. Take a pause, do nothing. Or do only what delights you. This is absolutely biblical. Honor the Sabbath day and honor the Sabbath day and keep it holy. It's one of the big 10, right? The 10 commandments. But it's also the commandment that we most easily ignore. The need for Sabbath time to rest. Even God needs to rest. After creating the entire universe out of nothing but a swirling void and a holy dream and declaring it all very good, God rested. Rest. The whole of creation needs rest, needs us to rest. But humans with our Protestant work ethic and our 24/7 lifestyles, we're interrupting this. In a study that was conducted by 175 researchers from around the world and published in the journal Science this month, researchers wrote, from elephants in Botswana to grizzlies roaming the Rockies, animals enjoy the solitude during COVID, when places became largely devoid of people. Animals traveled, on average, 73% farther as they migrated, hunted, and foraged for food. Roadkill numbers were reduced even as animals moved 36% closer to roads in densely populated areas. While we were all at home, terrified by COVID, the earth rested. The earth thrived. So, we know that we are an embodied people. And we know that we need to rest, that we are biblically commanded to rest, and that the world around us benefits when we rest. So what does this mean for us? Well, on a very simple level, take a rest. Take a rest. Don't feel guilty about time off or ignored to-do lists. Don't feel bad about lazy summer afternoons or slow summer mornings. Take this time to pay attention to the world bursting with life, luxuriate in the warmth, delight in the coolness, smell the flowers, eat all of that beautiful fruit and veg that's now appearing in the stores and in gardens and the farmers markets. Read some good love poetry. Remember the delight you take in your beloved, in your partner, or snuggles from grandchildren, or a hug from a dear friend, or just hold someone's hand. But more than this, and I'm tempted into revival mode here, which I don't do often, so don't get scared. Listen to these words from Jesus. Come to me, you who are weary and heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Jesus can give us rest. It's like when folks who are more evangelical than the United Church likes to admit we are, say, bring your worries to Jesus and lay them at the foot of the cross. Pray about what is weighing you down with the expectation that Jesus can give you rest, even if it's just for a moment, or an afternoon, or enough time to breathe, to rest from your worries so you can have the strength to carry on. Even if it's enough time to take those 10 deep breaths that calm the vagus nerve, that nerve that jumps into action, fight or flight or freeze when we're under threat or under stress. Take 10 deep breaths. It sends a message to our bodies that there's no bear, there's no tiger chasing you. We can relax a little and let our bodies and minds rest. I have a little basket of stones on the baptism font up there. And so during communion, you're invited, as you line up to come to the front, to take a stone. Just hold on to it while you're waiting your turn. And think about what is weighing you down. What is weighing you down? And put that heaviness into that stone. And when you come up to get the bread and the juice on the cross, just put it at the foot of the cross and ask Jesus to give you rest. So rest and embodiment, breathing space and delight. That is my prayer for you all this summer. Thanks be to God. Amen. We're going to sing number 372 in Heartback. Go on and be seated. Please stand if you're comfortable. We've had requests to go back to some of the things we used to do before COVID that I forgot we used to do because I wasn't here that long before COVID, but one of them was to pass the offering plates. So we're going to do that. I want a volunteer, 2 volunteers, yeah, one from each side. So Peter and Anne-Marie, let's pass these. See, we remember how to do this. So the offering plates are where we put our money. We put our money, we put cards. Some people are on a car, so you already give. Some people give envelopes. Some people already put their money in because I may have trained you to put your money in the plate when you come in. But this is how we open our hands in thanksgiving for what we have been given. We open our hands to offer back some of the abundance of our lives, Sometimes it is, physical money, and sometimes it is a blessing of gratitude or hope or commitment or faith or just the longing to be part of this church. And so these little plates, this is what we carry. And I like to remind people that even if they're on par is not like the only thing. You got an extra 20 to throw in there, you can do that. If you got some birthday money to throw in there, you can do that. If Tooth Fairy's been good to you can do that. But it is a spiritual practice to offer our gifts to God. So I talked longer than I thought I would about that. We are going to sing number 182 in the paperback, Grateful, and I'll have let's bring the money right up. Bring it on up. Communion, so I'm going to play with it for a sec here. Yes, all right, wonderful. I knew there was one other thing. One other thing we've had a request for to bring back again is the passing of the peace, which we will do in the middle of, or the beginning of the communion service. We're passing the peace. We're not sharing our life story. We can do that at coffee time. And I also want to just be really aware, people have different levels of comfort about being here and being in public and being around people. So instead of like the big old hug and kiss that we want to give, how about we just like turn around to our neighbors and do a little namaste and peace be with you, all right? Should we do that? You can give people a hug afterward. I see your face. We're easing into this slowly, my friends, and we're trying to make this as safe and healthy for everyone present. So we'll just turn around when it comes time to share the peace and just peace with you. Okay? All right. Beautiful. I see people practicing. That's awesome. We're learning together. So I invite you to take the communion liturgy. Does everybody have one or have sight of one? Yeah, beautiful. This is the joyful feast of the people of God, men and women, youth and children. Come from your work and your play and gather around Jesus' table. There are no strangers here, for we are all welcome. The peace of Christ be with you. And also with you. Let's take a moment to share the peace of Christ with those around us. You have entered this place, O holy God, and in your holy shadow, heaven tangles with earth in the bread and the wine, and the promise of flesh is realized. As he once came to us in a stable in Bethlehem, come now and be with us in the bread and the wine, and the promise of flesh realized. Come now, God. As once you came to us in a stable in Bethlehem, come now and be with us in the bread in this world that hungers and waits for truth. Come now, God. As once your Spirit poured forth life upon the earth, come now and pour the wine for this creation, waiting for renewal. Be present in our hope in this holy time, in the silence of power and the power of silence, in the throne rooms of the rich and the shanties of the poor, in overfed communities and underfed souls. Gather up hope in the bread and wine. Break open the good news of your incarnation on parched farmlands and frightened cities. In the hearts of the proud and the longings of the lowly, gather up the good news in the bread and the wine. Come now, God. Blessed are you, gracious God, creator of light, giver of all life, source of love. We bless you for all your gifts. You bring creation to birth and send prophets to awaken us to your advent among us. We praise you that your everlasting light is shown in us, in womb and tomb, in cradle and cross, in tenderness and compassion. For Jesus Christ, in whom you bless the hopes and fears of all the years, we bless your holy name. Joining with all your people of every time and place, with angels and archangels who proclaim the holy birth, saying, Holy, holy, holy Lord, God of love and majesty, heaven and earth are full of your glory. Hosanna in the highest. Blessed is the one who comes in the name of the Lord. Hosanna in the highest. For God has given us these gifts of bread and wine. For it is God's people who knelt on the earth and planted the seeds, and prayed for the rain, and sang for the grain, and made the harvest, and cracked the wheat, and pounded the corn, kneaded the dough, kindled the fire, and filled the air with the smell of fresh bread. There was bread, and it was good. Ordinary bread made by ordinary people, made holy when we take time to eat and remember. And God's people hilled up the earth, tended the vines, prayed for the sun, danced for the fruit, gathered the harvest, crushed the grape, fashioned the cask, aged the brew, and filled the air with the pungent aroma of wine. And there was wine, and it was good. Ordinary grapes taken by ordinary people, made into ordinary wine, is the all might eat of the bread and the power. All shall drink of the cup and the courage, the power to love fiercely, the courage to wage peace, the power to do justice, the courage to walk with each other. Take the power, hold the courage, and be transformed. Eat this bread, drink this wine, and each time you do it, remember.
Today we say, thank God for bread, thank God for wine, thank God for power and courage, thank God for this time together, for each other and for ourselves. Thank God for these holy gifts, thank God for these holy moments.
God, send your Spirit upon us and upon these gifts. Strengthen us, restore us, be present with us. Amen. So, we remember. We remember how Jesus gathered with his friends, took the bread, gave thanks, broke it, and shared it. This bread. Remember the life given for us. Jesus Christ, the power of love. Thanks be to God. And then when the meal was finished, Jesus took the cup. Gave thanks for it and shared it. This cup, the transforming power of courage, shared for us. Remember. My friends, these are the gifts of God, and they are for the people of God. Thanks be to God. This is Christ's table. It's not Sylvan's table or the United Church's table. It is Jesus' table. And so anyone for whom this means something is welcome to come and eat and drink. We have bread, and we have juice. We have wine in its natural state, and gluten-free crackers if you prefer to have a gluten-free option or something that is a little more contained. Remember that you're invited to take a stone from the basket as you're waiting, and you can put it at the cross when you come up. I will hold the bread and invite you to come and take a juice, and there are baskets there and over here for the cups afterward. I wonder if we might need a little more juice. Please join me in the prayer after communion. It's printed on the insert. Bountiful God, we give you thanks that you have refreshed us at your table with these gifts of bread and wine. We have been welcomed together as we would welcome all, stranger and friend. Strengthen our faith, increase our love for one another, and send us forth into the world united in courage and peace. Amen. Let's flip the order here. Let's do the hymn next. We'll do number 194 in the paperback, More Voices. And please stand as you feel comfortable. Life and work of the congregation. Who has announcements?
I was wondering,
Yeah.
this is a good time for Alyssa to tell people about the piece she just played.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
It is, it's really flippin' interesting, if you're up for it.
Yeah, come to the microphone.
The piece I just played is the last sonata in a collection by Bieber, who lived before Bach, so quite early in the history of music. And it's a collection that was inspired by the Rosary, the beads of the Rosary. So they're called the Rosary Sonatas, or the Mystery Sonatas. And so this was the last of those pieces. And it is the only one written for solo violin, and it is called, it is known as like the Bieber Passacaglia, but it's also known as the Guardian Angel. So a Passacaglia is like a canon. It has this reoccurring ground bass. I'm not sure if you noticed it, but it's da, 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 all the way through. And so that's known as the guardian angel, and sometimes you hear it and sometimes you don't, but it's always present.
Oh, I love that. Thank you. The guardian angel, sometimes you hear it, and sometimes you don't. But it's always
Just to let everyone know, we are passing around the sign-up sheet, so we still need people to finish July, and we don't have any sign-ups for August. So it's going to move around, and then afterwards we'll be in the back if you could just sign up where you can.
Hi, Sylvan friends. It's my birthday today. Yeah, and it's a really big one. And I've got a check. Yeah, it's 40. Okay. And yeah, anyhow, Women's Together this Wednesday. It's going to be at my house, and everyone's welcome. And it's actually the very day of someone else's birthday. So come on up. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Okay, so anyway, come on over, 1747 Pritchard. I believe it's on Wednesday, and I think there's some cars leaving from here about 11:30ish or so. So if you want to get a ride over to Cowichan Bay, you can come here at 11:30.
Yeah, so Connie today, my younger birthday sister,
Yes.
and me on Wednesday. So
Yeah.
good to see you.
Yeah. So everyone's welcome. Yeah.
Happy birthday!
in the offering basket. One of the many baskets up there is like, great.
And one more announcement. I have probably, I don't know, maybe 10 of these wonderful brochures, posters that announce the Raspberry Tea. These were all made by our friend Brenda, and now Beth, it's your turn. If you would make us one of these, that would be great, and we'll have them so that you can place them around your neighborhood. Our Raspberry Tea quilt show and bake sale is going to be on August the 12th from 2 to 4. I'm not sure of how much we're going to charge yet, but it will be at least $15. There's going to be quilts all through the sanctuary, hung on the rafters. It's just beautiful. We won't have quite as many as last year, because last year's 80, I think, was just a few too many. So if you have quilts and you'd like to show them or show them again, let me know. Judy Vanderboom is in charge of our baking again this time, as she always is, and does such a good job.
Rachel just volunteered the children to help.
Pardon?
Rachel just volunteered the children to help.
Oh, that's lovely. So all of the children will be helping and serving your tea. And the raspberry shortcake is absolutely just delicious if you've ever had it before. Who's had the raspberry tea before? Has anybody here had it before? Yeah.
Who
Okay.
got the date sheet
Bill?
because she loves it so much and wants to be here for it?
I think that it's a wonderful afternoon, and it is a fundraiser, so we're looking forward to seeing you all on August the 12th, 2 to 4. Sign up if you want to help. Thank you.
No, that, for those of you wondering why the date was changed, it's because I'm away when the original date was gonna be, and I wanted to be here for it. It is so much fun, and it is so delicious, so come. We have a special music and art and poetry service coming up on July 23rd, calling it Sacred Nature. Do you want to talk about that, or shall I?
You probably know more about it than I do. Do you think? I don't know. I can talk about it, but
All right.
you can add.
All right.
comments. So, Reiki. Reiki is our little gentle artistic soul. And she came in here and she saw Peter's paintings and she loved them. And it resonated in her because that is how she understands those moments of nature, is how she understands spirituality. And so she had been thinking on this and wanted to express it in the way that she can, which is through art. So she has curated an entire morning, an hour, not like an entire morning. She's curated a morning service worth of music that she feels encapsulates her understanding of what the connection between something bigger than us, something divine, and how we can see it in nature, how it lands for her. So we will be doing poetry, music, whether it's piano, duets. She's put in some art song that she and I will perform together. And then we have more readings and more poetry that Catherine is adding to the mix. So it's very much a labor of love, and it's a very personal moment of what it means to musicians and to artists to connect what is sacred with what is all around us in the form of nature.
Isn't that cool? So Reiki emailed, or I think Eve said, Reiki's got this idea, can we do it? I'm like, yes! So that will be our worship service on 10 o'clock on Sunday, July 23rd. So not next Sunday, but the following Sunday. Peter's away, sadly. We'll come back. But we hope to maybe build on this a little bit, and in the fall or the winter, in our spare time, we might pull in the visual art as well, the artist as well. So yeah, it's pretty cool. What else is coming up? Camp Spirit. So for the week of, 4 days, August 8th to 11th, we are hosting Camp Spirit again. This is the day camp program that is created and led by Pacific Mountain Region's First Third Ministry folks. So they come, they do this amazing program, they bring leaders, one of the youth crew is Talia, who some of you will know from here, and Johannes from Ireland. It's going to be just a really wonderful week of art and creativity and scripture and faith, and I'm really looking forward to it. Connie and I are the co-site coordinators. We need a few hands. We've got a few people who volunteered to help. Judy's gonna do the food. We've got the crew in the kitchen, but we could use a few folks just to help with some of the afternoon community engagement projects. So, yeah, that's it. Thank you to Judy Duncan, who will be leading worship on the 30th, to Jane Shapley, and to the Whitney Browns, who will be leading worship while I'm on holiday in August. And that's it. God bless you. I haven't gone yet. And that leads us into the blessing. Feels like we packed a lot into the service. There's coffee afterward. So everybody who wanted to say more at passing of the peace, there's your opportunity. My friends, we are embodied people. We have beautiful bodies that we walk around in because we are created in the image of God, the Creator, the Divine. So go out into the summertime and may it be filled with embodiment and your senses flooded with just the beauty of nature and some sexy, sexy love poetry, but most of all, may it give you rest. May God bless you and keep you. May God's face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May God upon you in kindness and bring you for us.